Hey folks, Andy here from Aussie Homesteads. I thought I'd just share a lifetime of experience as a welder and share what I've learnt on cutting discs and grinding discs. So let's start with just the normal grinding disc. This just happens to be a 4-inch grinding disc. And one thing you'll notice is that they are 6 millimeters thick. These things are intended for taking a hell of a lot of material off. So say you had a weld on here or a rise on there, it takes a lot of material off fast. I don't use a lot of those. I use more of these because this one here, as you'll notice, is only 2.6 millimeters thick. So having a look from the side of this one, you'll notice it's it's less than half the thickness of the other one. And I use these when I used to weld, for cutting into welds to break them. If we made a boo-boo, and gee, that was often. And you cut into the weld, and you can also shape and grind with them, and they're quite versatile. And these things are fairly cheap. So the next one, this is the secret to saving money when you're cutting flat sheet and Rio and all those type of things, like a shipping container. If you're cutting those out, have a look at the thickness of this thing. It's only 1 millimeter. So what you'll notice is they've always write the size there. So it's 100, which is the outside, 4 inches. 1 millimeter, that's your thickness. And then the center hole size is your third figure. This one happens to be 16.0. So it fits a 4-inch grinder. And they're all the same interior, all the same exterior size. So those are used for cutting stuff like this. I'll get back to that in a second. Let's just cover what we've discovered. This is called a flap wheel. No, that's what I call them. I don't know its official name, but I've got names for everything like flap wheel. I'll give you a good look at it. Okay, so it's the same inside size. This fits a 4-inch grinder. And I measure them by putting my little finger through it. My little finger just down to the first joint happens to fit the 4-inch grinder, so I don't even need my glasses. But what you'll see is this is a 40 grit. Now you get 40 grit, 60 grit, 80 grit, 100 grit, 120 grit, and lower the number, like the 40, that means it's rough. 160 up to 400 is fine, so just remember that. So this thing is just basically tons and tons of pieces of sandpaper of all different grits, all glued onto a backing disc. And these things, for stripping paint off of something, polishing back rough surfaces, shining and polishing this stuff, these things are just the duck's guts. Go to the hardware shop. You can get them in 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch, whatever size your grinders. They're all available. Go to the hardware shop, get yourself some of these, and then comment in the comments that you think they are the duck's guts. Now, let's talk about the different sizes. I only use Flexivit brand. Now, Flexivit, that's the name right there, happened to be made in Australia, but that's neither here nor there. The fact is that they're very, very high quality. Now, this is a 100 millimeter disc, so it's a 4-inch. 115 millimeter, these are those little thin slitting discs that I was telling you about. So that's 115 millimeter outside. And this is a 125 millimeter outside. I don't know what that is in inches. Let's Google it. But you'll notice something here. If you look at this figure here, it says 115 by 1.0 by 22.23. That 115 is the outside diameter. The 1.0 is the thickness. The 22.3 is the size of this inside part. So you'll notice before my little finger fitted in the 4-inch. It won't fit in this one. And then you have a 125 millimeter. So it's a 125 by 1.0 by 22.3. Now, what you may notice is people that have a 115 millimeter grinder, this is my El Cheapo Ozito that they reckon's crap, but I reckon they're the duck's guts. This is a 115 millimeter disc. This fits on a 115 millimeter grinder. And you put your nut on, yada yada. But one thing you'll notice is, remember when I said they were 22.23 in the middle? Strangely enough, so is 125. And the 125 millimeter disc fits on a 115 millimeter grinder. Isn't that amazing? So what advantage is that? Well, if you're cutting through a round pipe or square, normally the disc goes through three sides and just misses the other damn side. And it's annoying as hell because you've got to turn the piece over. But if you put a 125 millimeter disc on it, it will cut right through. So how much have we gained? Well, let's match them up. See the differences? And that much is the difference in a brand new disc between cutting through a round pipe and not cutting right through a round pipe. So there's a little trick for you. I've been buying now the 125s. I buy these things in the bulk pack. These come in boxes of, I don't know, this is a 25 pack. Go and buy yourself a box of the damn things. It works out a lot cheaper. It works out to be a couple of bucks each when you buy them like that. But anyway, so it's my Azedo grinder. People take the mickey out of cheap tools, but God knows I have built everything with this 115mm Azedo cordless grinder. First thing to remember, folks, safety first. That thing there, this is called the guard. It is not for decoration. There happens to be adjustable on the Azedo. You can move it out of the way. Most people don't use... the number of videos that I see with people not using these things is frightening, actually. And safety first. If you're on your own, you bleed to death. Well, there's nobody there to bloody save you. Save yourself. So, safety first. Battery, out. Disc changer, tighten, loosen. Always use the correct collar. This is the collar for these cutting discs. So you put your cutting disc on. You can put them either way. It doesn't matter a buggery whether you've put them that way or the other way. I prefer this way because when they press these in a press, and these are actually pressed in a machine, there's a little tiny lip there. And sometimes when you try to put them this way, it doesn't quite fit right. But if you always put this little disc here down, it fits perfectly every damn time. Get into that habit, and then that is flat on one side. See how it's raised on the other? There's a reason for that. If you were to put that raised side down, that disc will just spin. That's actually intended for your cutting discs, your grinding discs. That slot, that little round part there, I haven't got a 115mm disc, fits perfectly into there. So that's for your grinding discs. It centres them and it grips them really, really tightly, so you can really give your grinder hell. If you put them that way, on the flat side down, they'll slip. So that's just a little quick tip. But if you put the flat side down on cutting discs, it bites hard. So when you take the disc off, you'll see that these two, that's your bottom plate. In other words, there's one of them on the bottom. It's that way up. And it's got matching sort of pattern that matches this grinder. So there, it's locked in. If you leave it like that, well, of course, that's not right. So always double check your discs. So make sure your seating disc is right. Put your flap on upside down. Put this flat side down. Remember, flat, not ridged. You don't want that rise on that disc because it will not tighten. So there you go. Tighten that up and away you go. When people talk about cheap tools, have a look at what I've built a homestead with, mate. The old Makita. I don't know how old that drill is, but I reckon it's been going for 20 years and probably even more. I bought this thing off of eBay about 10 years ago. $40. And it's only a little tiny 1.5 amp hour lithium ion exploding, burn your house down type battery. But they don't make this brand anymore. They were $40. This thing is so light. And I use it for unscrewing cabinets and unscrewing washing machines. This thing goes all damn day and you don't get tired. This thing weighs a bloody ton in your hand, and if you're doing that all day, it hurts. Trust me. So get yourself a nice light drill. I mean, have a look at my old Bosch. This is the one I use for screws. Again, I don't know how old it is, but you put a screwdriver bit in the end of these and drive in those really, really long screws, like I think they call them lag screws or something or other. These things are amazing. People buy them in a set and bloody sell them, and I don't know why, because you should be buying them, because these for screwing in screws, once it gets to a certain point, it's got that hammer feature, and it just hammers, it just absolutely drives those lag screws in. That thing doesn't miss a damn beat. And that was a Bosch special that I bought at probably one of the big box stores. Well, it was they called them Big Green Shed. I prefer Mitre 10 personally. But anyway, let's go back to these discs. So, if I was to use this normal cutting disc, remember it's the 2.6mm one, and I cut this piece of steel, by the time I finish that cut, that disc is knackered. It'll be down to here. So that's an expensive way to cut down metal. Get one of these slitting discs. You will slit through that, cuddle your Rio up, cut that out, and you've still got plenty left. You'll be going, why the hell has nobody ever told me about these things before? Buy the steel and stainless. They're a bit tougher. You can get plain steel or steel and stainless. I use these ones, and they are absolutely fantastic. So go and do two things. Get yourself some slitting discs, get yourself some flat wheels, get into the comments and tell me that we're not right. Anyway, hope that helps someone. Hope it saves you a lot of bucks. It saved me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars over the years. So there you go. Have a great day, folks. See you later. Bye.